but money in this election cannot allow to buy love. And I'm gonna say this in close. Give you an example. In Miami-Dade County, and I'm a little full about this, and I'm a little petty, so I'm just gonna apologize in advance. So, one of our races where one of our elected officials raised a whole bunch of money, and they paid a whole bunch of people that look like us to help that person get elected. Now, the first thing I did when I was starting to practice law was I worked with this guy over here in redistricting in the early 90s and trying to make sure that we had black seats. In Miami-Dade County, the only black senator we have right now is this guy. The seat that we fought so hard to have as an access seat is now represented by somebody that doesn't look like me. And it's the first time that Liberty City is going to be represented by somebody that doesn't look like them. And I'm going to keep it right there.
Wow. Well, panelists, those are all of the questions that we had. Now, y'all ready for the questions that the audience had? Okay. And since they don't have anyone specifically named, we'll just see who we want to answer this. What are the plans to increase jobs and training in the black population, specifically to young black men? Who wants to take that? And if I can just get one person to take it so that we can get through. Y'all want me to take it?
The Oscar was saying what we had said earlier about OIC. That is a particularly significant program here in this locale at this point that is doing
Can you tell them what OIC is?
Opportunities Industrialization Center. And this was founded by a pastor from Leon Sullivan from Philadelphia. But we've had a chapter here. It has been revived. My former law partner, George Allen, has been involved with its revival. But they are doing significant training. Additionally, the Urban League directs folk toward jobs. But I still maintain that there is no real significant training. Some of us are going to leave here and go to the labor ball down at the Diplomat. Some of the labor unions need to step up and have more young black men involved in their training. And then there's another area that I represent that I have been on their butts consistently, and that's the Army Corps of Engineers. Listen, Oscar and Bobby, governors, Republican and Democrat, House members and senators have been about the business of pouring lots of money, rightly so, in the Everglades. But I go through there and I'm like Yolanda, I get full about this. I was riding down Bloody 27 about 3 months ago, and I passed by a work site that had 27 people working and one Anglo person, the rest were Guatemalan. Now I want the Guatemalans to have work, but there are people living in the glades in Pahokee and Belglade and Canal Point and South Bay, and these big people move in with the earth movers, and they bring their people from Atlanta and from other places, and the local people don't get no job. Now the community colleges also are doing some job training, and that needs to go on. Because of time constraints, I won't go much further.
Thank you, Congressman. Okay, let's see. How can we, the black community, best support the fight for 15 and or the fight for affordable housing here in Florida? And if I can get one of you to answer that, especially if you guys can also explain to them what the SDOSI fund is.
So Fight for 15 is increasing our minimum wage to $15 an hour. Again, the best way to do that, vote for Andrew Gillum, make sure that Jeremy Rain, Nikki Freed, and Sean Shaw get in. because that's something we can change with the snap of a finger if we have the people in office to vote for that. The second thing you said was the Sadowski Fund and affordable housing. So in Miami-Dade, we have something that's called surtax. So every time a house or a piece of property is sold, a certain piece of a tax, part of that money is put in a fund. And that fund is used to build affordable housing. That's only in Dade County. Everywhere else in the state, that piece of money is put into a fund for everyone else, and it's called the Sadowski Fund. The Sadowski Fund is supposed to be used statewide to help with affordable housing, to build affordable housing, to subsidize housing in high-risk places like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, the beaches, to make sure that we have affordable housing everywhere. Well, in years past, and this year was no different, that money has been used for something other than affordable housing. And many times that money is used for tax cuts, which is absolutely ludicrous in my opinion. But that money is specifically it's supposed to be used for affordable housing, and it has not been. So what we've been trying to do, and why you hear people say, make sure you keep the Sadowski Fund whole, is every year we want that money to be used for affordable housing. We do not want it to be used for anything else. We do not want it to be used for corporate income tax cuts. We do not want it to be used for when they cut health care or won't take money from the federal government, so therefore we have a deficit in health care. We'll take money from the general revenue and then back fund that money with Sadowski Fund money. So $3 billion. $3 billion. This is a large amount of money that can be used to build housing right here in this community, and communities in Miami-Dade that look like that. When we say, well, there's a housing crisis and we don't have no affordable housing, we have a fund specifically for that with billions of dollars in it that is not being used for that. And that is, again, is a direct result of not being in control of the rules. As it talks about it, if we don't vote, then we're not going to get the things that we need.
I just want to add something real quickly to that. A lot of times when we talk about affordable housing, people have this definition in their heads. But nowadays, because the cost of living is so high and folks aren't making a livable wage, when we say affordable housing, we're talking about housing even for our first responders, for our police officers, our firefighters, our teachers. I mean, just, people who are working 2 jobs. So that just puts the emphasis on how important this fund is, and the folks that are in power don't give a damn. I mean, they just go through it, they take the money every year. So affordable housing is critical just for the average working person who gets up every day. And sometimes, like you said, Congressman, jobs, 3 jobs, and they can't afford affordable housing. Yeah, it's not with the projects.
It's not just the projects, it's also the programs that help first-time home buyers. That money, the programs that help people get first mortgages, those second mortgages, that's what the Sadowski Fund is for. It's not just to build more projects, it's for us to have affordable housing, period.
Did y'all hear him say $3 billion that has been taken from that fund? That's got to be something illegal. Criminal.
We need to find out.
Right? That's why we need John Shaw as our Attorney General. So we can make sure that money go where it's supposed to go. Okay, next question. With gerrymandering being a major issue in the state, what can we do to be actively involved in the drawing of district maps? Vote.
That's easy, because we have to help in Broward, yes, but in Dade, that same district that I was telling you about, the reason that it turned out that way because it was drawn from Liberty City over to Miami Beach. Now, if you grew up in Miami-Dade County and are over 50 years old, you remember what happened in Miami Beach. You had to be off Miami Beach by dark if you were somebody of color. If you rode a 14 bus over towards Edison or Northwestern, you saw the ladies in the